Are you planning to move to Green Bay, Wisconsin? Well, before you finish packing your bags, let me ask you one question. What is one thing that could turn your dream move into an absolute nightmare? From blistering winters to unexpected lifestyle quirks that nobody seems to be talking about. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 common deal breakers that a lot of people moving to Green Bay, just like you, often face, and how you can overcome it and avoid regretting your dream move. And before we get started, I just want to remind you that whether you're planning to make a move, whether that's in 9 days, 90 days, or 2 years down the line, make sure you reach out to me. My information is in the description below. You can text me, you can call me, you can send me an email. Every single week, I have people just like you who are looking for information either to move to Green Bay or ready to make the full leap. And they call me or they text me, and together I help them out make that transition. And I want to help you with your transition as well. So make sure, whether it's just questions or you're just ready straight up for the move, let me know. I'd love to help you out wherever you are in the steps in your life. Now let's get started. Number 1, the weather. The weather here in Green Bay can be very, very bipolar, I guess I would say. But one of the biggest problems that I think, in my opinion, about Green Bay that absolutely sucks is the winter. The winter here can be brutal sometimes, especially how cold it is. Around between December and February, especially around January, February, it is very common for the weeks just being, in the low teens to into the negatives. So I can almost guarantee that coming up in January, around February, there'll be about 2-3 weeks where the temperature is steadily sitting at 0, going down towards about -5. And then the wind chill on top of that just makes it even worse. So that's one of the things that really suck. And what's funny, maybe you're like me, I've always told myself, you know what, I'm going to move away from an area that the cold hurts my face. Literally, if you've never been in a winter type of location to live, whether that's up north, anywhere in the United States, into Canada, anywhere like that, Northern California, anywhere there's north where it snows a lot and stuff, when there's wind chill with it as well, and it's very windy, it literally hurts your face and it feels like you got slapped. Then you got other neighboring cities like Manitowoc, Sheboygan, Milwaukee, even going down to Chicago and other cities like that. They're all along the lake or other bodies of water. It gets even colder. Okay, so that's something you're gonna have to be aware of. Now, winters here, they straight up suck. Number 2, the Packers. If you're a Packer fan, especially if you're a diehard Packer fan, Green Bay is going to be absolutely amazing. You are going to love it. But if you're not a Packers fan, it's going to get pretty annoying because things here in Green Bay, almost everything is Packer themed. I'm talking from street signs to chairs at the cafeteria, the food court, at the local mall. Street signs are all named after coaches and players and things like that. Even our garbage cans outside are green and gold colored. So if you're not a Packers fan, it's going to take a little getting used to, because here almost everybody is a die-hard Packers fan. So that's definitely an adjustment you're going to have to get used to if you're not a Packers fan, and if that's something that will really bother you. Once in a while, you'll run into people who are not Packers fans, and it's a decent amount of people. You got all kinds of fans, but they're not as vocal because of how, I guess I would say, how diehard Packer fans can be. And of course, if you're not a fan, that could be pretty annoying. The small town feel. I've always described Green Bay to be the largest small town that I've ever lived in. And I first caught wind of this when I first moved here, in 2014. I started playing, football locally and stuff like that for a couple little leagues and all that. And I added like maybe 5-6 people on Facebook. We all played on a team together. Cool. But what really caught my attention, and I thought it was really weird and not in the best way, is the fact that after that, anybody I looked up on Facebook, either I had 1 or 3 mutual friends with them. That's how small Green Bay can be. If you're from a small town or from a small community, Green Bay is going to be big and bustling, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to do. But now if you're from a bigger city where it's more diverse and more things to do and stuff like that, honestly, Green Bay will seem very small to you, and it's going to seem like you are kind of confining yourself to the middle of nowhere, I would say. And if you are from Green Bay, and this goes with anybody who's from a city that's smaller and you desire to be at a more diverse, more busy type of city, you're going to feel confined because of the lack of options that Green Bay offers, whether that's food, whether that's things to do, things like that. Because Green Bay is very family oriented, and it's great for families, absolutely. Individuals, young professionals as well. But if you are looking to have fun, that's where it gets a little dicey. So that's going to roll into my next point about Green Bay's nightlife. Green Bay's nightlife is okay. That's how I'm gonna say it. It's okay. It could be bigger. It'd be nice if it was bigger, but honestly, it's small enough where there's only a set number of bars and things like that people will frequent here in Green Bay. A lot of people will also go down to a nearby city, Appleton, to also take part of the nightlife, but it's the same thing over there. So it's like you're traveling between Green Bay, Appleton, sometimes down to Oshkosh and stuff, just for nightlife to get like a good variety. You can get a good variety after, cycling through all these cities, but to be just in Green Bay alone, to depend on the nightlife alone, if, like I said on the last point, if you're from a larger city and you're used to having so many diverse options and things like that, you might be disappointed, honestly, with what you find in Green Bay. However, I will say that Green Bay has been growing a lot in the last couple years. We've gone from about like 160,000 people to the metro area getting close to about 300,000, a little over that. So I can definitely see it starting to grow eventually and get bigger. But as of right now, the nightlife is not it. The lack of diversity. So with diversity, Green Bay and a lot of Wisconsin, but Green Bay is predominantly white. I love my white people. It is what it is. But that is a concern that some people may have. Here in Green Bay, it's primarily white people. And in my opinion, they're great people, all of them. But if this is something that matters to you, just know that the number of black people and Hispanics and stuff are growing steadily. For example, remember how I was just telling you guys how back in 2014 when I first moved here, I started playing football and stuff like that. The amount of black people that are here, even though it's growing, it's still small enough to where a lot of people would ask me if I played for the Packers.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
I wish, but I've never played for the Packers. And that's the thing. I'm 6 foot, about 280 pounds, and I guess with good reason, people would assume, oh, you must be a Packer player. I'm like, I wish, but no, I'm not. I'm not at all. Lastly, Green Bay has a little bit of a rat problem. So even though Green Bay is pretty clean, Green Bay is also known for making toilet paper. We have giant companies like Georgia Pacific, companies like Green Bay Packaging, Procter & Gamble, and there's Kimberly-Clark down in the Fox Valley and things like that. In these factories though, in a lot of these places, when they start collecting paper to recycle and things like that, it attracts rats. So Green Bay has a very strict garbage disposal ordinance as well in order to try to fight this, but there is rats that I personally haven't seen any rats or had any problems with rats myself personally, but I believe the closer you live to these places like these Georgia Pacific and all these plants and stuff, the more likely you are to see these rats, and depending if you have garbage just sitting out and stuff like that. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Remember, if you're thinking of making about a move 9 days, 90 days, or even 2 years down the line, every single week there's people just like you who are thinking or even just planning to make their move to Green Bay that reach out to me to help them out with this process, and I'd love to help you out too. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a good one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you share this video, and I made a similar video to this last time, and you can find a little link somewhere up above here that'll show up at the top of this. Make sure you click it and you go check that out. But until then, I'll see you guys around.